Hello Milky friends, Milkstool here with you for another Idle Heroes video. Welcome. This is part 2 of the event analysis that I'm doing for the Mid-Autumn Festival, or 中秋节, if you're Chinese. If you're not Chinese, don't worry. So in the first part of the video, it was a very lengthy video, I acknowledge that. It was just to go over the whole event and give you my initial thoughts on how to spend and when to spend, but I recognize that not everyone is in the same position as me, i.e. late game player willing to splash a bit of cash around. Recognize that there are some free-to-play players, some game, as well as players that are just very early on in the Idle Heroes journey, and so they're not necessarily going to be able to complete all the quests here to get all the Starlight Orbs, and that's perfectly fine. So this video is really to tell, for those, geared at those individuals who are free to play or very early players. It's to, one, tell them how to best acquire Starlight Orbs, and two, how to spend it, given you're probably not going to get enough for the Atlas Cane. Obviously, if you can get the Atlas Cane, like I said in the first video, get it. Artifacts are enduring. They last forever. Like, heroes come and go, but artifacts are still around even after. Like, this artifact was introduced like 2 years ago. It's still here. It's still needed, right? So, if there's any way you can get the antlers, just do it. But if you can't, that's fine. We're going to go over what you should consider buying with your Starlight Orbs that you do get, because there are some things that are just much better value than others, right? Just right off the bat. So before we get into what you should buy, let's get into how you can like just acquire Starlight Orbs in the first place. So let's just go in order. The first place you can get is obviously just to do Imp's Monopoly. So for every dice that you roll, you get 5 Starlight Orbs. And how do you get dice? You get 5 a day just for free, just logging, 4 a day, sorry. 4 a day just from logging in, right? Over 7 days, that's 28 dice. 28 times 5 is 140. So you're going to get 140 Starlight Orbs for free. And if you want to buy, because you can, the limit here is 400 dice in terms of how many dice you can acquire before it says, no, I'm not going to give you any more Starlight Orbs. The other way you can get Starlight Orbs is obviously just to buy it for 150 gems a piece on the Monopoly board. Right, that's the other place. You're not going to buy it because you're a free-to-play player. So if you're free-to-play, I mean, that's the other place you can just obviously buy it. But these packs are just not great value at all, even factoring in these Starlight Orbs. The final place you can get dice are obviously just doing the shelter missions, right? So if you manage to swap out one of these heroes, you're going to get 5 dice, and that's pretty decent. And these heroes are pretty decent, right? Sia, everyone is excited about, but especially for Void, but the fact that they're going to introduce more heroes after Sia makes it seem like, well, it's hard to tell how valuable Sia is right now. Sia was only valuable if you wanted to build Void Sia when she first came out, right? But in between now and when you can save up enough 5 million Cot Crystals or Space Crystals, there are going to be other heroes that come out. Sia may no longer necessarily be relevant by the time those other heroes come out, but I digress. That's my thoughts on Sia. But these assassins, they're pretty nifty, right? Thakwa you need for PvE, Heartwatch you need for PvE, Naki is kind of useless. So those are the key ways you can get dice. And the only thing to be mindful of is you shouldn't just wantonly spend dice for the sake of spending dice just so you can get the Starlight Orbs, right? Just so you can get these. What I would say is, if you're a free-to-play player, just spend all the dice that you're going to get for free every single day. Then do a couple of these shelter mission swaps, right? And then on Thursday, after you've spent all the free dice that you can get or from the shelter mission, assess where you are with the number of stars that you have. How far are you off? You're probably going out with 140, 110 stars, right? Assess how far you are off the next chest. Take the number of stars you are off by. So, for example, if you're on 140 chests, 140 stars, and you're 30 stars away from the 170 chest, what I would say is take the deficit the delta between where you are currently in terms of stars and how much you need to get to the next start chest level. Divide that difference by 2, and that's basically how many dice you should buy, right? And on that basis, you should just buy the dice that way. There's no point in buying dice if you're not going to use it in a meaningful way to get the next chest level, because it's just a very expensive way to acquire Starlight Orbs. Because if you're asking yourself, well, Milkstall, should I just buy the dice to get the rewards here? No. Like, I've done the math. It doesn't work out, right? So you absolutely should not buy dice just so you can get more of this, just so you can get some of the rewards here. It in no way correlates. It's just not worth it, right? So let's just put that thinking out of your head right now. So that's the first way you can get dice as a free-to-play player or a very early game player. The other way you can get Starlight Orbs is just through the Heroic Scroll summons. And look, you're going to get, like, in the 2 weeks, probably 7 of these, because you're going to do... It depends. If you do your daily task every single day, you're going to get 14 orbs here just for free. And I know that's not a good lot, but you're going to get 14. And if you're a free-to-play player, you only do the daily free heroic summons, you're going to get like 7 Starlight Orbs from here, right? The reality is, unless they introduce like a phenomenal new hero next week, which I don't think they are, because when we go to the preview, it doesn't show you who the new hero is, or they're not really hyping it up. So if we go here, who's the new hero? Like, they haven't hyped it up, they haven't shown us. It just says Hero Lottery. So it looks like I think they're gonna give next week a miss in terms of introducing a new hero, and they're probably just gonna say, look, next week you have a high chance of getting a Rogan, a Tix, and some other heroes. Is my guess. Could be wrong, but point is, that's the other way to get Starlight Orbs, and it's a very expensive way to get Starlight Orbs, because one scroll gives you 1 Starlight Orb, but 1 scroll is also 125 gems, whereas 1 dice gives you 5 Starlight Orbs, and 1 dice is only 150 gems. So if you go, well, how much is it on gems per Starlight basis? Like, how much do I have to spend to get 1 Starlight? Here, it's 30. Here, it's 125, right? So instantly, like, oh, so I should just buy more dice. No, go back to the first thing I said. Only buy dice if it's going to be useful and it's going to get you the next chest tier, right? Don't just buy dice for the sake of buying dice, because it's the quickest way to get Starlight Orbs, right? Even though it's the quickest way to get Starlight Orbs, by the time you spend all the gems to get a reward from here, you might be like, well, fuck, it doesn't make sense anymore. Like, I should have just bought... I could have just, bought these scrolls outright. Yes, that's right. You could have. They're smart. They're not stupid. They haven't sort of engineered it in such a way that you can get away with doing what I just mentioned. So scrolls is the other way to get Starlight Orbs, but it's also a very expensive way to get Starlight Orbs. The third way to get Starlight Orbs is via arena ticket, and fuck me, this is a lot of arena tickets. Like, I barely go through this much in a month. I mean, you're going to spend 3 tickets a day as a minimum on the Crystal Crown League. So 3 over 14 is like, what? 3 times 15, call it 45 tickets, right? You're still 255 tickets short. So then where the fuck else are you going to get and spend that many tickets? You're probably going to spend another 10 a day on Interdimensional Arena, but that's coming to an end, right? Interdimensional Arena's gone, you've got 3 days left. So that's going to, 3 days, 2 days left, 3 days, 30 tickets. So, because let's assume you use 2 tickets and you just do all the fights, all the basic fights, up to 10 tickets. So like you do your daily task, sorry. If you do all your daily tasks and you only need to do it like sort of like up to 5 battles, 5 times 2, is it 2 tickets per match? It is, because I'm up to 3 tickets now. Yeah, so 2 tickets per match, you're going to get another 20, 30 tickets there, all right? So then you still got another 220 tickets to spend. And you got to ask yourself, are you going to spend 220 tickets on Trial of the Champions? Because that's the only other place where you're going to spend tickets. And I suspect Trial of the Champions is going to be uber competitive over this coming week and next week, simply because everyone's just trying to work out a way to spend 300 arena tickets, right? And so, and you got to keep in mind, 300 arena tickets, right? It's basically if you do it on, uh, like with the first two, if you try and calculate the cost per starlight, gems per starlight, it's about 10. Because one arena ticket is about 10 gems. So 10 over one orb it makes it better value than the heroic summon scroll, where it's like it costs 125 gems per orb, starlight orb, but it's less value than this one, which is 50 gems per. Actually, 125. Oh, okay, no, I take that back. So this one is the better value if you're trying to work out, well, I can use my gems to buy dice, or can we use my gems to buy just a fuck ton of tickets from, for example, Aspen Dungeon, maybe the Merchant. Can you buy it from the marketplace? Yeah, you can buy it from the marketplace, but here it's about 12 gems per ticket. The 10 gems per ticket comes from Aspen Dungeon, and it comes from the Merchant on Adventure on Celestial Island. So this is probably the cheapest way to get use gems to buy something to get starlight orbs. If you had to do it, right? If you had to do it, like I said, I wouldn't go out of my way just to spend to. Actually, would I? Fuck, I might. Alright. Let's just keep that in mind. So keep that in mind. I just realized something. So one arena ticket, one starlight orb. Each arena ticket's about 10 to 12 gems at a cost, right? So then 1 million gold, 1 million spirit will get you one starlight orb. That's the other way to get starlight orbs. And you have to spend up to the cap is 300 million. 300 million gold, 300 million spirit. With the gold and spirit, what I would say is just play your normal game as you would, and then before the event finishes, see how much gold you have, and then just upgrade your heroes along the way. Like, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy gold from Hand of Midas. This is the only way to get gold, accelerate it, because 300 million is a lot, right? So if you don't have a lot of gold in your early game player, the only real way to accelerate you getting more gold is, one, it's to get it from Hand of Midas, or two, if hopefully your monthly events reset from Broken Spaces, right? Buy these tickets and try and clear some of these levels, and it's probably a cheaper way to get gold compared to buying it from the Hand of Midas, right? That's my only other thought, but everyone's calculations is different because the rate at which you can buy gold from the Hand of Midas differs for you compared to me, because I'm VIP 11, I'm also 301, and that influence how much gold you get per gem when you buy from the Hand of Midas. All right. So if you're wondering about how to get gold, you can buy it from the Hand of Midas. You can wait for your monthly reset and just clear Broken Spaces, buy tickets from there. Same with Spirit. You can get it from Broken Spaces. You can't, and the only way really to buy more of it is from the marketplace, to be honest. Apart from getting it for free from campaign, you can buy it from the marketplace from here. And I bought, this one's terrible value, this 500,000 for $1 million. You got to buy the 30 million or the $150 million one. That's the best value in the market. I bought the $100 million one or the $150 million one. And so that's how you can get more spirit. If you're a free-to-play player, you use gold, and told you how to get gold. Then in terms of gems, right, I was surprised at how quickly I spent gems. So one is to, use gold or gems to buy gold, like I told you before. But in the course of playing the game, you actually just spend gems left, right, and center. Well, I do without realizing. For like Tavern, for example, every time you refresh, that absolutely counts, right? When you spend gems there. When you spend gems in Aspen Dungeon to buy things, when you spend gems in Marketplace to buy things, that counts. When you spend gems on the Merchant on Celestial Island, that also counts. If you spend gems on to clear Broken Spaces to get these things, to clear Broken Spaces to get the gold and the Spirit Ward, that also counts, right? So I would argue if you are an early game free to play type player and you have gems, it's better off just spending the money to get the tokens here to clear Broken Spaces rather than buying the gold here. So if you're trying to buy buy gold, and you can't sort of clear broken spaces without having to buy tickets. Do the math. Work out how many more tickets you need to get, say, let's say, you know, you the 100 tickets that you get every month, you only get you up to stage 6, for example, right? And you're wondering, well, how many tickets would it cost me to clear stage 7? Do the math. Just do one attack, multiply out how many tickets you need to buy, and then see whether or not this stuff is worth it, and work out how much that would have cost you just buying it here or buying it here as well. I know it's a lot of math, but if you're a cheapskate player or free to play, and you're trying to get the most out of this game, you have to do that kind of value analysis. But that's my thinking. I'm not going to do it for you because I don't know how many people it applies to. But if I was in your situation, that's how I would do it. So that is then the gem piece, right? I'm surprised at how quickly I blew through this. Because I bought Hand of Midas a couple of times. I re-rolled on Tavern a couple of times. I also bought a couple of dice on Monopoly, and already I'm close to basically finishing it. The other place where you can buy gems to help you, the other place where you can use gems to help you along is arena tickets, right? You can just buy arena tickets because 300 arena tickets is a lot. I know some people have thousands, but I do not have 300. So you can buy arena tickets here for money, obviously, and so that's another way to spend money. But you can also buy it here, 120 gems a piece, just to get arena tickets. 120 gems to get 10 arena tickets. So that's how you get the event currency. Now, let's talk about how you spend it and what's the best way to spend it. So here you can see I've listed all the items that you can get for Starlight Orbs, the cost of the Starlight Orbs, and then also the gem equivalent value of the items you can get. And then what I did was simply gems per Starlight calculation. So how many gems you get per Starlight. And why this is important is because, one, it tells you, it clearly shows that food is the best value for money. Like, so if you needed food and you had enough copies, I would argue you basically go for the food. The food is just outstanding value. Maybe let me talk about how I did some of these calcs first, because from you're like, well, hang on, why is Antlers there twice? So Antlers Cane, the gem value of a pay-to-win artifact is like super debatable. A lot of people took issues with the first way I calculated it, and I acknowledge it's not the best way to calculate it. If you're wondering how I got the 4,500 gems value for a pay-to-win artifact, it's based on the campaign currency that happens from week to week. So in the campaign that just went by the Sweet House here, you could buy one scroll for 100 cupcakes, and so one scroll is worth 125 gems, so therefore one cupcake is worth 1.25 gems. So if you take that conversion factor and you apply it to this, then this basically is worth 4,500 gems, and so that's how we get this number here. But everyone's like saying, well, hang on, if you're given a chance to buy a pay-to-win artifact for 4,500 gems, everyone's going to buy a pay-to-win artifact, like, just all the time. That's absolutely true, and I accept that now, right? So leave that aside. So then, how else do you calculate the value of a pay-to-win artifact? Because there's no other way to, like, just get it. Well, that's not true. The other way to get it is to spend 400 feathers, right? So then, on the assumption that each feather is worth 52 gems, and again, unfortunately, that comes from the same analysis where we did campaign analysis, right? So using that same conversion factor, using this table of effectively items and things you can get for the items, and the 1 to 1.25 conversion factor, we've gotten values for a light dark hero that's elite, an elite non-light dark hero, and then based on those two and how much feathers it costs, we came up with a value of about 50 gems per feather as a value. So if you accept that, right, if you accept that the feather's worth about 50 gems, then 400 times 50 is about 21,000 gems. We're saying the value of a pay-to-win artifact is. And that basically sounds a bit more reasonable. It's probably not right, but it's not 4,500. 21,000 sounds about right. And the reason why it sounds about right is if we're checking for calibration, I mean, you could argue it's worth up to 25,600 gems, because the devs are saying, look, I'm going to give you a choice. You can either have one 10-star puppet, or you can have one pay-to-win artifact, but it's the exact same price. Now, with a 10-star puppet, we know for a fact that it is worth 25,600 gems. Because one 10-star puppet is worth... You need 64 5-star heroes. And one 5-star hero is worth 400 gems apiece. Because in Event Raid, at the highest level, you can basically smash this 5 times. And each time you smash it, you get one 4-star shard. You need 8 4-star shards to get one 5-star hero. 8 times 50 is 400 gems. That's how we get it. Oh, by the way, the other way to get spend gems is obviously do smashes on Event Raid and smashes on Seal Land. So I've kind of ignored that. So it all adds up, like I said. So there's lots of ways to spend your gems, but leaving that aside. So you don't actually have to go away and buy like dice just to get more Starlight Orbs. Just go about your daily business, and then at the end of the period, just see what you're short. I think is the best approach. Or is it maybe wait until Thursday and see how much you're short in terms of dice on the Imps Monopoly board before you decide how many more dice to buy. Is my tip for now. Anyway, I've kind of digressed. So if we go back on track, that's the puppets. We've got all the value for puppets. The only thing that's a bit controversial is I've assumed the 6-star light and dark puppet is worth the same as a 6-star non-light and dark puppet, and I acknowledge that that's absolutely not true because it's much harder to get light and dark food. So whatever you think the premium is, you re-enter the value here for the 6-star light dark puppet, but here we've just assumed same as non-light dark puppet. Light dark hero selection chest, so which is this one. You can pick any light dark hero. You can pick any non-light dark hero. We've just assumed, again, based on the values you're getting from here, the campaign currency, we've just used that conversion factor to bring those values across, right? 3875, 3375. Light dark hero shard, dark hero shard, elite hero shard. So these items here, light dark, right? The calculation is as follows. So if we go to here, basically with the elite light dark hero shards, I've basically said the last 6 heroes are valuable, so they're worth 3,375 gems, again from this table. And here's a chance of getting them. Everyone else is just food tier hero. So when you do the expected value and all that, it's about 637 gems one elite light dark hero shard or 50 elite light dark hero shards are worth. Similar kind of thinking for the light shards. So light shards, these are all the heroes you can get. Here's the chance of getting them. But then how do you decide who's like genuinely elite? Because I would argue only Russell is elite. Only Russell is elite here, right? But everyone's at different levels of the game, right? So some people might argue, well, no, Belray and Nader is still elite and Tara is still elite. I disagree, but because we'll never agree, let's just assume that based on the last 3, well, let's just say the last 3 heroes that were introduced, because they're going to be void enabled, are genuinely elite heroes. And so then we can assign them the higher gem value. Everyone else that is food, Belrain, Faithblade, Asmodel, we're going to assign them a food value of 480. So I've added a 20% premium on just the 400 base cost for a normal non-light dark food. That 20% premium I just pulled out of the air, out of my ass, because just it's not worth 400. Similarly with the dark shards, it's a bit easier. Well, not really, because what's valuable here? Drake is valuable, Rogan is valuable, not Rogan. Drake is valuable, Carry's valuable, and then that's really about it, right? But because we're following the same methodology as, well, not the same methodology, but the same assumption as what we did to the light. The heroes that be void enabled are the truly valuable ones, right? So we've given them the higher gem value, and then everyone else, even though I would argue Mim is technically still kind of elite-ish, especially for Mim Cheese team, and Aspen, he's not that bad. Whereas genuinely crap heroes are like Armivore, Dustmoke, Dark Arthendol, again, I wouldn't say he's absolutely food, but because we'll never agree who the truly elite ones are, and everyone's going to have a different value for these heroes. Let's just, for argument's sake, the last 3 that were introduced and that are going to be void enabled are the genuine elite ones. So then, on that basis alone, the expected value for a dark shard is 1159 gems, right? So if you accept that, then these values, it's just math, right? It's just the gem value divided by the number of starlight orbs. And what it basically shows is that you should, in the first instance, if you can get the antlers, like I said, you just buy the antlers cane, right? It's just so valuable. But then if after that you've or you can't get the antlers, what else? What's the next best thing to spend your money on? The answer is food. It just looks like you're getting better bang for buck for food, right? The 10-star puppet is just much better value than the 9-star puppet. And the 9-star puppet and the 6-star puppet are kind of similar value. But if you can get the 10-star puppet, get it. But I doubt most of you can, right? Because if you can get the 10-star puppet for 1,500 orbs, why the hell wouldn't you get the Atlas cane? Right? So I'm assuming like most of you will not be able to get the 10-star puppet. So then it's a question of, well, okay, all the stuff that's less than that, what should I get? I'll get a 6-star light and dark puppet or a non-light dark puppet. If you're a free-to-play player and you're struggling to get light and dark food, this is the best way to get it, right? So I would go for the light dark puppet over the non-light dark puppet. If you're a late game player and you are free-to-play, and you basically have like just a whole stack of heroes like I do, like for example here, see, I have a whole stack of heroes, and you don't actually really need any more food. Then the next best thing to buy is effectively the hero selection chest. So these ones here that let you pick any heroes, these are super valuable. Do not under any circumstances get these shards. These shards are the most terrible valuable from a value perspective things that you can buy. You see, around 4 in terms of value. 4 gems per starlight orb. And just to prove a point, I'm going to open up my... I'm still confident that I'm going to get a Dasmog or a DA from this, that I'll just open it now. See, Dasmog. This one, I'm going to get a Michelle or Asmodel watch. Or Faithblade. The point is, it's not Russell. And that's the only one I want, right? So, unless there's lots of heroes here that you want to build with the light or the dark, then just avoid buying it. If you can, and stick to buying the puppets, because then after that, arguably the next best thing after the food is the scroll. It costs 20 starlight orbs for 1 scroll, and each scroll is worth 125 gems. Therefore, on a gems per starlight basis, it's 6, right? So then, if we marry what you can get with what you could buy up front from gems. So remember the first part of the argument, not the first part of the argument, but the first part of this video was how these first 2 things, you could actually spend gems to get these things, right? And I said, well, they've engineered it in such a way that, you can't just spend gems here to get something that's much better value on the other end. That's not true, right? So here's, if you haven't clued onto it, I'm going to show you why now. So, right. So, a dice, a cost is gem cost, right? And then we're going to do gem per starlight. Oh. How many starlight you get from using that one item. Orbs. So bear with me as we do this live in front of you. And for those of you that have already clued on to what I'm doing, well done. Arena ticket. All right, so the gem cost is 12. Let's just use 12. Let's just be conservative. 125. Dice is 150, right? And for each one, it's going to get you... that's 5. That's 1 starlight orb. And this one is 1. Alright, so then you do... what's the cost per starlight orb? gem cost per starlight orb. Gem cost per starlight, right? So then you go that divided by that. And then, so instantly you can basically see, well, if you're trying to get starlight orbs, getting it via scrolls is just stupid expensive. Getting it via dice is also stupid expensive relative to arena tickets, right? But then what you can see here is all of a sudden I'm guessing enough of you have picked it up by now. You're probably going, well, hang on a minute. If it cost me 12 gems per starlight orb, and you're telling me I can use that one starlight orb to get something that's 15 gems per starlight orb, don't I make a profit of 3 from, say, if I just bought a ton of arena tickets? The answer is yes, right? So that's what the math is saying right now. If you, let's say, go out of your way to buy 300 arena tickets, right, and you use gems the whole way, theoretically you could then go back and turn around and go buy the 6-star puppets or the non-light die puppet. Well, you can only buy one of these, not 2, unfortunately. But you would then turn around and go back and just buy these 6-star puppets, right? You would spend all your arena tickets, try to get as a high level as possible in Trial of the Champions. But then in terms of the reward that you get from expending the starlight tickets, you're going to get these 6-star lion puppets. It's a very long and obtuse way of converting stuff to food. So, I mean, let's take a step back. At the end of the day, this game is about two things. It's about getting copies and it's about getting food, right? How do you get food? Through just a long, very convoluted way, right? For example, so the long convoluted way we're saying is gems to food, to tickets, to starlight, to food, right? That's what we're saying. And we're saying that is a much better way of getting, assuming you use the arena tickets meaningfully, then that is actually a pretty decent way to get starlight orbs to get these light dark puppets. Because here you're spending 12 gems per ticket to get something that's worth 15 gems. Instantly you're making a profit, right? And that's just, you're basically doing that. Gems, ticket, starlight, food. So if you're a free-to-play player, that's a very small value arbitrage I was surprised to find. Because initially when I went through this, I was like, yeah, 30, 125. No one's dumb enough to, buy dice just to get one of these items. Because it doesn't pay off, right? Because it costs you 30 gems per starlight orb. And you exchange it for something that's only worth 17 gems per starlight orb. That means you lose 13 gems from doing that. Whereas here with arena tickets, I've just very clearly shown you there's an arbitrage to be made. Like you would actually go out of your way to buy arena tickets just so you can get cheaper food. Right? Anyway, that is the video for free-to-play early game players. I hope that gives you some ideas. Even if you're late game, hopefully that gives you some ideas as well. I know it was another long one. You can see why I split it into 2 videos because the math just isn't that easy to go through your head. Finally, sorry, before we go, one more thing. If you're wondering about these value packages, so I basically, surprisingly, these packages scale. So meaning there's no sort of dollar advantage or arbitrage in buying the $10 one compared to $30 one, $70 one, or $100 one. On a cost per item basis, they all cost the same. All the gems cost 2 cents a piece. All the dice cost $2.50, and all the stars cost 20 cents a piece. So there's no arbitrage in buying one pack over the other. The other thing that I will mention is because there is no arbitrage, then you're asking, well, okay, what's the gems per dollar value? Because this week they're obviously giving you this starlight orbs in addition to the dice and the gems. So on a gems per dollar basis, it comes out 195. It's terrible value, right? Because you expect 350, I would argue 400. If you do want to buy one of these packs, what I will say is obviously it does contribute to this VIP reward thing, right? So if you buy the $100 pack, you have to then factor in, well, if I buy the $100 pack, then what extra stuff do I get? And then with that extra stuff, you have to recalculate what you're getting on a gems per dollar basis. And all the data is there for you to do the math. If you're struggling with it, just comment down below and say, look, I'm buying these two things. Can you tell me the gems per dollar cost? But if you're buying this game, you have money, and you likely have money because you're smart, right? So I'm sure you can do the math yourself. Anyway, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found that useful. Thanks as always for watching, and have a great weekend.